Lester spinning down on the infield in the 12 or 22.
Oh, Mark McFarland got caught up in the aftermath. The 59 Harris Trucking Dodge.
Trying to avoid collision. Looks like Brandon Witt in the 38 also with damage.
Boy, the 12 truck of Robert Huffman, he was right in the middle of all that. He did receive some damage, but just did a great job of skirting through. It looked like from where I was sitting, Rick, I just caught the end of it. I don't know if someone got Bill sideways, but that accident was precipitated by Bill Lester turning sideways.
We also saw the 88 with damage. Tracy Hines in the Menards 88. Problems with that is those trucks begin to come down pit road. We'll take another look at what took place, like you had mentioned, coming out of turn 4.
It's all going to start right around Bill Lester here. You're looking back towards turn number 4.
Oh.
You see him. He looked like, I don't know, was there contact between the 75 of David Starr and the 22 maybe?
From that angle, you would almost think so, Phil. We talked about guys getting underneath of you and wanting to give you just a little bit of a nudge or try to make their way to the front. Let's not convict David Starr of doing that yet. We don't really have a conclusive shot to show that or not, but it appears that way.
On board with Robert Huffman now.
See, Robert made some contact with the 38 truck of Brandon Witt.
Did a great job sneaking through there. That you can't tell whether
On board with Andy Houston.
you can't tell whether Dave got a hold of Bill or not. It looked like Bill got loose, but
Almost looked like David Starr was trying to check up a little bit and then got a little help from behind as well. So 4 to 5 trucks involved in our first caution coming off turn number 4. When we come back, we'll take it all out. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series MBNA America 200 on Speed Channel is brought to you by MBNA. By Craftsman, the official tools of NASCAR and the NHRA. And by the next Ford F-150, 2004 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. First caution has come out. 4 trucks with a large amount of damage. Bill Lester, Mark McFarland, Brandon Witt, 88 of Tracy Hines.
see if we can get another look at this, Rick, and figure out what the heck happened. Did Bill just get sideways, or did the 75 get a hold of him? That's what we're trying to figure out.
Yeah, the accident's already going to occur here. This is the aftermath. You see Tracy Hines and Brandon Witt get together. There's Ted Musgrave, the one truck right in the middle of your screen, driving through it.
He and Andy Houston both did a tremendous job of threading their way through that crash.
And there's a lot of trucks that were involved in that have damage now to their trucks. And this is probably a place where you don't want to have any problems with your truck.
That's for sure. And we talked about early on when we talked about the racetrack, the whole entire way around this racetrack is banked. 24 degrees in the corners, 9 degrees on the straightaway. So when something
Pacific and a crash in turn number 1, we go over to see the 29. Problems with Brad Keselowski. His first run here in a truck.
The 8 truck of Chase Montgomery also involved in that crash, as was, I think, the 06 in that field.
I'm not sure if he got any contact with that or not. The 29 of Brad Keselowski was doing a terrific job. He was running in the top 15. There's Chase Montgomery, the 8 truck right there.
Brad's been able to adapt to these trucks in a hurry and run competitively. I don't know what happened here, but his speed has been impressive.
He's got a good head on his shoulders. Pretty young guy, but does a great job in the local short tracks back around Michigan and Ohio. But this is, I think, his 3rd start in the truck. Unfortunately, it's going to come to an early end.
Family team. Bob Keselowski does the crew chief duties. His mom, Kay Keselowski's up above, being his spotter. Let's take a look again at turn 1.
Drive down the front straightaway.
It blew up.
Yeah, sure did. Look at that.
That'll cause you to crash.
Yeah, no, you see the 8 truck getting sideways in the oil right there. Certainly no fault of Brad's.
And the leaders had the leaders just lapped them?
No, I don't know if there's Hank Parker Jr., the 21 truck. He's currently in the 17th position, so they were well comfortably on the lead lap when that happened.
running on board with Andy Houston. You see it behind him. Toyota's Robert Huffman also with the view of this and trying to avoid the oil laid down on the track by Brad Keselowski. Third caution out on the track.
And a crash on the front stretch. Number 67 into the wall, so we will see a yellow flag here. 67 with the crash.
What a big break for Chad Chaffin, who had assumed the lead. He was one of the trucks that pitted on lap 73, Michael. He assumed the lead. There are only right now being shown 4 trucks on the lead lap. One of them is our buddy Ken Schrader. You've got Chad Chaffin leading. Rick Crawford, there's his crew right there. Awfully happy. Hank Parker Jr. in third and Ken Schrader in fourth. The only 4 trucks on the lead lap.
And the amazing thing about that 18 truck of Chad Chaffin, Phil, not only has he been out there since lap 73, taking advantage of having a little extra fuel, but his lap times. He's been the fastest truck on the track, even though he's got older tires on than some of the guys that have already pitted.
We've been watching him. We're able to see with our computer who runs the quickest lap each lap. And I keep looking up there, and every time it's Chad Chaffin running the quickest laps.
Take a look at why we were under our 5th caution. Kevin Love in the 67 coming down the front stretch.
Oh, he got loose exiting the corner and overcorrected it.
We talked about that earlier. You get loose off that corner. We saw Carl Edwards do it. Did not overcorrect. Kevin Love, very little experience. Overcorrected, got into the outside wall, sent him down into the inside wall. Pretty hard contact, and just broke the heart of a whole bunch of guys that have already made pit stops.
Check out what Schrader's looking at. He's saying, wow, haven't pitted yet, and the caution's out. This is a break, a big break. And like you said, Phil, there's only 4 guys on the lead lap right now. One of those cats will get the free pass, so we'll have 5 on the lead lap. Looks like it might be Andy Houston who gets that.
The pit road is still closed right now. They usually keep it closed for a lap so all the field can be collected by the caution truck.
Speaking of field, part of the infield getting torn up by Kevin Love.
Pit road should be open this time.
Caution number 6 has come out. Ken Weaver spinning on the front stretch. He wrecked his initial car that he unloaded during practice yesterday.
Except as a truck.
That's a good point.
See him on the inside of the racetrack there, just trying to stay out of, looked like maybe Mike Skinner's way.
Wow.
And around he went, made hard contact. Again, bank straightaways, not much room on the inside, made hard contact there. That was Mike Skinner. He tried to stay out of his way, pinched the truck down a little bit, hit the inside wall a ton.
That was a hard crash, Phil.
And the last person who wanted to see this caution is who, Michael?
Ken Weaver.
Well, how about the second to the last
True
person?
statement right there.
Second to the last would have been Rick Crawford.
Chad Chaffin.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chad Chaffin. I was thinking about
Rick Crawford would have been third.
For his first pit stop, and the caution is out now, so that will set it up for these guys all to head to pit road. We'll get busy here in just a second.
And as we pass the halfway point, 101 laps complete, the second caution comes out, I believe, for Brad Keselowski in the number 29 truck.
Saw a lot of smoke out of the back of the 29 truck. See the smoke right now out of the back of the truck.
See if we can see what happened as we go by in Andy Houston's truck.
See a lot of smoke out of the back of Brad Keselowski's truck. See him pull to the inside.
Engine woes again for the 29.
They have not been able to buy a break. They had a great run going at Dover, lost an engine, made hard contact, probably lost that truck completely. Brad made going to make the hard left-hand turn into the garage area. Tough break for the K Automotive team.
Smoke continues to roll out of that truck. Now that closes the gap that was 2.5 seconds. Shane Meal will be just in front of Ted Musgrave. And Phil, are we going to see pit stops now?
We're going to see pit stops, and as Ricky truck of John Wood with trouble.
Ken Weaver in the 08 gets into the wall in turn number 4. Caution comes out.
Appears to be a single truck incident right now. I see no other trucks that were involved. Let's see if we can take a look and see what happened to Ken Weaver to cause him to get in the outside wall. Here they are entering turn. Oh, he just got sideways getting in turn number 3. got into the wall with the outside right rear corner, and then it swung him around and hit with the right front corner. Pretty hard contact.
And the rule this year, when the caution comes out, the field freezes. You do not race back to the line, and after the caution came out.
Look at all the traffic he's in the middle of. 3 wide, there's going to be a caution right there.
Hines gets spun around, as well as other trucks avoiding that. I saw the 21 of Hank Parker Jr. also getting involved. Shane Sieg in the 07. Damage to the front of the 21. Tape, it looks as though it was coming off of that truck. And Jack Sprague was on the inside of all of that, trying to make that pass.
He made that 3 wide. I don't think Tracy Hines or his spotter realized that it was 3 wide. Tracy took his normal line down in the corner, and there wasn't enough room. Let's see if we can take a look and see exactly what happened. See, Jack's on the inside. He's going to dive underneath the 91 of Stout. Tracy Hines comes down the racetrack, does not know that it's 3 wide. He thinks he's just side by side with a 91 truck. Ran out of room, made contact with the outside wall hard. A couple other lead lap trucks, the 07 of Shane Sieg and the 21 of Hank Parker Jr. getting involved. You see, Tracy Hines just does not know that it's 3 wide.
Well, and there was no place to go for the 91 of J.C. Stout. J.C. Stout would have been taking the low line, and the 88 of Tracy Hines would have stayed on the outside, and all of a sudden there's no room to go.
Yeah, the 91 of J.C. Stout didn't do anything wrong. It was just Jack Sprague trying to get back up to the front, and he didn't do anything wrong. He drove up completely beside the 91 truck, and unfortunately Tracy Hines ran out of room. Ray Dunlap.
Hey, Phil, Sprague restarted 28th there, and the big thing they've been trying to remind him on the radio is to be very careful working his way through, because they'd really like to take this same truck to Milwaukee next week. These guys made a deal with him that if he doesn't tear it up, they'll work all day tomorrow to get this thing turned around. It is now Jack's favorite chassis, and they'd love to take this thing to Milwaukee.
So Jack Sprague being shown in 18th position. He tries to move back up through the field. Catch Ted Musgrave. Caution as Brandon Witt in the number 38 gets into the wall coming out of turn 3.
Brandon's able to get back going, did not lose a lap. He's one of the trucks on the lead lap. Again, these caution laps are whittling down the possibility for Bobby Hamilton or Shane Meal to possibly get by Ted Musgrave.
We'll see how much damage actually has been done to that number 38 as we ride on board with Andy Houston.
Some contact right there. Looked like the 12, possibly a Robert Huffman, got into the left rear corner of Brandon Witt.
We're going to take a short break. We'll sort this all out when we come back. Ted Musgrave continues to lead at Memphis Motorsports Park. 62 laps is the most anyone has led. Eighth caution of the day comes out at Memphis Motorsports Park. Dennis James letting the field know to slow down, and they've hopefully learned that lesson. Jack Sprague, as we went to break, was on the inside of Mike Skinner and bumping a little bit, and now we see Rick Crawford on the inside of Mike Skinner making a pass.
Great side by side. Rick's going to get a little bit loose getting down in turn number 3. You see him get sideways, made a little bit of contact with Skinner, almost had it saved, and around it went. That was right after Jack Sprague had made some contact with Mike Skinner to get by him.
Riding on board with Mike Skinner now.
Remember, the truck on the inside loses a little bit of air off the spoiler. You see Rick get sideways there, almost able to save it, not quite. And you see Steve Park trying to get by on the inside. There's another view of it there. Just lost a little bit of air on the rear spoiler. Around him was able to keep it out of the outside wall, so very little damage, but lost a lot of track position. Rick was battling Mike Skinner for the 11th position, and right now he's being shown 24th.
There are still 26 trucks on the lead lap. Shane Meal is your leader, and we're closing in on our finish line. We have 9 laps of racing to go.
Trouble already. 2 trucks around, 3 trucks around. No caution flag, no caution flag. Bobby Hamilton's on the outside of Shane Meal.
Bobby Hamilton trying to take the lead. They're almost 3 wide as they come out of turn 4. Side by side across the start-finish line. Shane Meal still out in front. Bobby Hamilton trying to make the pass on the high side of the track.
did he drive it down in that corner. Now Shane Meal needs to move him up the racetrack. Use up that racetrack, Shane.
Shane Meal almost sideways coming out of turn number 2. Bobby Hamilton still holding his ground on the high side of the track. We'll see if he can hold that number 4 Square D Dodge. And now the caution flag flies. And it's going to be Bobby Hamilton, I believe, in front of Shane Meal. We'll see what NASCAR says.
That's who it looked like was leading to me. NASCAR's going to have to sort it out and figure out who was in front.
Unbelievable. We've talked about the line, the preferred line being on the inside of the track, and Bobby Hamilton on the outside's making the pass.
Here they are right now. Obviously, the yellow's out. We don't know exactly when it was out, and whenever the yellow is displayed and the caution lights come on, that's when they freeze the field. So NASCAR's going to have to figure this out. Shane Meal, obviously, you see him running side by side with Bobby Hamilton. That's what a driver is supposed to do when they think there's a conflict, is they run side by side with the other truck and let NASCAR determine who's leading.
And we believe NASCAR has just made that determination. The Square D Dodge number 4 will be shown as your leader, our 4th different leader in today's race.
That was pretty big, and a pretty big, bold move on the outside of the racetrack. What a great side-by-side battle for the lead.
And the amazing thing is, he made the pass on the outside, Phil.
Yeah, unbelievable. We've seen Bobby Hamilton look to the outside a few times in this race, and I'm sure when he was passing lap trucks on the outside, he said, hey, if I have to use this groove, is it going to be here for me? And he obviously knew it. He was inside 10 laps to go. What a veteran, wily move by Bobby Hamilton.
I always think back to Days of Thunder, and it's Danny Rollins down there saying, I got a match set of tires, that you can do it. You can pass him on the outside.
Yeah, well, whatever, it worked, whatever happened. I'm not sure Danny was telling him I had a match set of tires, but Bobby knew what he had, and he knew those trucks in front of him were good, and he knew when the opportunity came, he needed to go for it.
Take a look back at when the flag came out. Now, we've matched the time code on the tapes. You can see the flag coming out, and it's when the lights are displayed, and this is exactly where they were when that flag came out. Bobby Hamilton just in front, and you can see that not even a truck lead separates first through third.
3 wide to the lead.
Second, Martinsville, and they got in a crash there, finished 26, but they also ran it at Memphis, and he finished 11th there. He said we were really better, and Quapple has a spin, so we're under yellow, under yellow.
Caution flag does fly as Travis Quapple spins in the turn. And that brings out caution number 1.
Travis only lost about 3 positions in that spin. You see Chad Chaff on the 18 Dickies Dodge right in front of him, so he got going pretty quick. But I think we've run 60 laps now. We're going to see all kinds of pit stops.
Johnny, you mentioned earlier that they've seen enough of this track. They know what a long run's going to be like. Now they know what adjustments to make.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they've already communicated. They already know the changes they're going to make, and they're just ready for them down on pit road. You know, hopefully their stop's going to go well. You know, what you really want is to be close enough to do air pressure adjustments, so you don't have to spend a lot of time in the pits. The guys that are a little further off on our truck, they're going to have to make some chassis adjustments. It's going to take just a little longer than they want to see.
NASCAR has made an adjustment to the way that these trucks and drivers can get into pit road. If NASCAR is ready for them, they could get the green to take pits the first time around.
Saw a replay of Travis Quapple. It looked like he just got loose getting in turn number 1, Johnny, and around the thing went, did a great job not getting into the outside wall.
Oh, he did an excellent job. You know, as he's going down in there, it's just sometimes just real loose, and you know, it looks like he's just in maybe a little bit on the brakes. Oh, just well, be a little while before they do.
Jack Sprague dropped a spot to Rick Crawford, and caution comes out for the 3rd time tonight. Tracy Hines in the Menards 88 slowing on the track.
He gets back going right in front of our leader, Ted Musgrave. There's the Mopar Dodge. That would mean Tracy Hines is able to stay on the lead lap because he was able to get going before Ted Musgrave got there. See a little bit of damage to the right rear corner of the Menards Chevrolet.
You have to wait and see what happens. Normally when you see damage on that end, he probably just got loose, went up there and just tagged the wall, and you know, about it. Not a whole lot of damage.
See if we can see what happened with 88.
Oh, got taken out there, yeah.
They had a little bit of help right there by one of the Toyota. I can't tell if that was Mike Skinner, but I think it was Robert Huffman. He made some contact with the outside wall trying to get by Tracy after he got into him. So he probably has more damage than Tracy Hines does.
Right side of that Toyota Tundra getting into the wall.
We're only 101 laps complete, so nobody will be able to stop on this caution flag and make it the rest of the way. I don't think that means we won't see any pit stops. We're going to see
a caution on the racetrack right now and not going to be able to complete that pass. But it's going to be real interesting to see what happens. And Brad Keselowski, had a little problem there. The caution's out. Now interesting what's going to happen with these pit stops.
Johnny, if Gene Need and Ted Musgrave are in their fuel window, if they can make it on fuel, I think he needs to come in now and put his tires on.
Green laps difference on those tires.
Bill Lester gets spun around into the side of Mike Skinner, and Skinner will be taken out of this race. Also involved, the 75 of David Starr.
What a tough break for Mike Skinner and David Starr. And Toyota take two of the, there's the 42. Look at all the damage in the 42 truck of Mike Skinner, the 22 truck of Bill Lester, and also took out the Spears Manufacturing Chevrolet of David Starr. He's not going to have as much damage. He's going behind the wall, though. Tough break for David Starr, Dave McCarty, and the entire Spears team.
Yeah, heavy damage to Mike Skinner's truck there. And just, but this is a break those couple of leaders up front needed. They needed maybe a couple more caution laps. This may play into their hands pretty good.
We look back at how this caution happened.
See, there's Bill Lester. There's the 21 of Hank Parker Jr. Hank gets in the back of Bill Lester, turns him sideways. Bill's right in the middle of the racetrack. Mike Skinner tries to go by the inside. Bill Lester's momentum carried him forward, made hard contact, and also put Mike Skinner into the outside wall.
Two Toyotas taken out of the race by a third Toyota, Hank Parker Jr.
Tremendous amount of damage on the 42 truck right there, Mike Skinner.
Now Skinner's coming back out onto the track. He's trying to run for championship points here. I mean, the truck is obviously not going to be able to make it back up to minimum speed on the racetrack.
Now he can't make it up to minimum speed. What he's trying to do here is just still log a couple of laps or under caution, get ahead of the guys who are also involved in that accident, and they'll come back in. They'll probably work on it a little bit, maybe get out there and run a couple more if he's not damaged too bad to make that happen.
Disappointing night for our inaugural champion of the Craftsman Truck Series. Take a look at Skinner.
He's already made contact with the 22. Hard contact in the outside wall after he made contact with a 22 of Bill Lester. A big break for the teams that have stayed out. Travis Quapple, Carl Edwards, Dennis Setzer, Shane Meal, all these fellas last pitted in lap 103. All these caution laps are going to help their fuel mileage. They might have enough.
What's good for some, very disappointing for others. Chad Chaffin makes his way into the pits. He'll get new tires, and we'll come back to see how that stop helps him out. Comes out. That's the 7th caution of the night. The 08 of Ken Weaver spinning.
Again, another break for Ted Musgrave. He's already up in the 7th position. Now he gains all that track position back. He'll be right on the bumper of the 6th place truck. They'll be nose to tail all the way to the front.
The caution has come out. The gap has been closed. Ted Musgrave tries to reel in 2003 Series champion Travis Quapple. History being made at the Milwaukee Mile. We take a look back. Caution number 3 came out when Travis Hines got spun around. That came out on lap 101, and then Jack Sprague's engine expires. That was on 110. Pit strategy came into play.
David Ruderman getting turned by the 2 truck of Jimmy Spencer, makes hard contact with the outside wall.
Hank Parker Jr. gets into the back of the 22 of Bill Lester. He gets into the side of Mike Skinner and David Starr. Skinner's day we thought was over. Travis Quapple out in front of a hard charging Carl Edwards, and then Edwards making a mistake, hitting the wall. And that brings problems for his truck. Now Dennis Setzer setting his sights 24 of Travis Quapple. Skinner making his way back out onto the track. Little adjustments being made to that Toyota.
Looks like a modified pickup truck right there. No front end on that truck.
I'm surprised as hard as he caught that outside wall that he was able to actually bring this thing back out here and gain some, valuable points. But you can see the left front here is definitely way out of whack, but just enough to maybe get ahead of some of these guys.
Great battle for fourth. Shane Meal, Travis Quapple. Oh, whoa. Sideways. Shane Meal gets sideways and into the infield.
We're watching for the caution. The caution flag is out.
Flag will fly. It will be green, white, checkered.
Unbelievable. Ted Musgrave just now goes by, gets the caution flag. Had he got to the start and finish line, got the white flag before the caution came out, the race would have been complete. Now, green, white, checker. Look at his crew.
Unbelievable.
And a great race going on here between Travis Quapple and Shane Meal. And you see Shane slide up the track, and Travis is going to take a last, he's going to dive underneath there, got on the gas. Shane started to close the door there, got in his left rear there. Shane almost saved that. I mean, it was a great job.
What a tough break for Shane Meal after running so well tonight. Watch here. See him, he clears Travis Quapple, slides up a little bit in the center, leaves the bottom of the racetrack open. Travis able to get in the throttle just a little bit quicker, caught him in the left rear corner, and around he went. Tough break.
I didn't think Travis probably didn't expect him to get off the gas. So usually you're right there, you're on the gas pretty good. And just, he misjudged it.
Shane Meal got turned back around, being shown in 15th position. Despondivitz number 15. Another impressive run for Shane Meal. Just a late race mishap.
Regardless of where he's going to finish in this race, he definitely had a top 5 truck this entire night. Billy Ballou, Richie Waters, Shane Meal have nothing to be ashamed of. A great job tonight.
Ray?
Hey guys, watch for the 15 to come down pit road here. Shane Meal says we got no shot at winning this thing without tires. They do have some tires left over here, so they're up on the wall, ready to go, and see if he does come down. He does. Despondivitz Chevrolet will come down here to put tires on it. How many people are in the lead lap? I don't see a monitor right now, but if you can tell me there, but these 18
right?
trucks on the lead lap, and he's going to give up that track position for tires. You got to hold the brake there, and now he's going to be over the line, so they got to back the truck up. They've got time to get this done, but with 18 trucks on the lead lap, I don't know. Let me talk about green, white, checker for just a second, guys. This will be the 45th time that we'll have a green.
Out of the racetrack.
It's a pretty bold move.
Interceptor sideways.
Sideways.
And he gets into the side of Carl Edwards. Edwards into the wall. Just kissed it. Not very hard, but still. There's going to be damage to the 99 Super Chips Ford. No caution has come out as of yet. Bobby Hamilton claims the top spot.
Dennis Setzer was on the bottom of the racetrack. That's when you lose some air off the spoiler when you're inside of another truck. He lost air off the spoiler, got loose, had to chase the truck up the hill, caught the left rear of Carl Edwards and put him in the wall. What a horrible break for Carl Edwards.
Carl Edwards staying out on the track, but not up to speed as he drops back to the very back of the seal. Problems again in turn number 2. Bill Lester in the 22 having problems, gets spun around. Dennis Setzer, our points leader, also with problems. So 1 and 2 in the points, struggling after 1 lap at Kansas.
A lot of damage to the front of that 46 truck of Dennis Setzer. What incredible, the top 2 guys in the points both have trouble within a lap and a half.
Yeah, this is something when you've got a green racetrack. There's a lot of unknowns when you go down into that corner, and it looked like Dennis just got, like I said, got a little loose, got up in the car there, and it'd be interesting to see if maybe Dennis had a problem with his right front after making that contact with Carl Edwards.
Bill Bonnefeld, the 25, also saw him in the infield, but this is unbelievable damage. We talked about how good of luck Dennis Setzer had been having, and you can't have worse luck than this at the start of the race.
He really has had so little bad luck all year long, but this is going to be take some major repairs right here by Danny Gill and his team. Dennis Setzer obviously is out of contention for the win, and he's probably out of contention for even a good finish. Going right straight to the garage area, Rick.
Behind the wall for Dennis Setzer. Very disappointing start. Carl Edwards also having problems. We take a look back at how this happened. This was the start of the race when Dennis Setzer got a little loose on the bottom.
Side by side, you see him loose right there already. He has to chase the truck up the hill. When he does, he makes contact with the left rear of Carl. Carl just ran out of racetrack, Johnny. He was going to save the truck, but the outside wall was there.
I think he did. He definitely had a save, but he was just sliding up the track so fast that it is so hard. I mean, he's trying not to back the thing into the wall. He uses the racetrack, saves the truck, but just ran out of track and went up there and bumped.
Watch Dennis here. This is Rick Crawford's onboard. Dennis gets in the throttle and just gets loose. And you see there's the contact right there with Carl Edwards. A great view out of Rick Crawford's circle bar truck.
There's Carl Edwards. He opted to not come in. He stayed off the pace, but didn't come in on that first lap. And then this caution comes out, so he was able to stay on the lead lap. Look at Dennis Setzer's front end. Let's take a look at what happened.
See Dennis on the outside there. That's him. 3 wide on the outside. Oh, look at that. There's Jack Sprague on the inside. He almost missed. He makes contact with Dennis Setzer, and that's how Dennis Setzer got on the outside wall. Then he gets caught by Andy Houston and knocks the front end off of that truck.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like Dennis was doing all he could to save it, and he almost had it saved, but sliding down, and with all these trucks coming down through the corner, there's just nowhere to go, and it was just unfortunate that he got hit. Jack Sprague making a great save there, not going in the grass, and Dennis just not so fortunate.
On board with Bill Lester.
Just 3 wide this early into the race going in the corner just makes it a really tough situation. You know, I'm sure the guys had a run on Dennis. Dennis was just trying to gather up what he just went through, and there you go, 3 wide.
And John, the exact same thing happened to Jack Sprague that happened to Dennis Setzer. He got loose on the bottom of the racetrack. Wendy.
Well, you guys saw the wreck from where you were, but I saw the dejection on the team's face as the 99 went around. They decided to come in and take right side tires only and assess the damage. They said they felt the toe might be out. They pulled in that right front fender. Sounds like everything's good on the 99. He just said that the 46 got into me, and this is very frustrating. Let's go to Ray Dunlap.
Thank you, Wendy. Down here in the pit area as the crew goes to work here on Dennis Setzer's Silverado, they know they're going to have to pull the radiator out. They do have a new nose they're going to try to get on this thing. You'll notice that the front Nerf bar is not completely destroyed. It's just bent up. So they'll try to get that thing straightened out, get the nose repaired. They do have damage to the oil cooler, though, and you see the water is running out of the radiator here. They will have to replace that. The good news is they do have an electric fan on this truck this week, so there's not a manual fan that has done damage to the engine. So with an electric fan on that radiator, that will help them get this thing changed. There does not look to be severe damage to the steering or any of the suspension there, but on the front end, a good bit of work to be done.
Our points leader already into the garage after 2 laps from Kansas Speedway. Jack Sprague in the 16, only a half-hour practice early, bumping and banging going on in Kansas. Welcome back to the O'Reilly Auto Parts 250. We're under caution number 1, and that is Dennis Setzer, our points leader's truck, being worked on right now.
Johnny, let's take another look here. We talked about Jack Sprague getting loose on the bottom. Look, he gets caught in the right rear by Andy Houston. That runs him up the racetrack.
It does. There's nothing Jack could do about that. He got bumped. He's just trying to make sure that he gains control of his truck. He slides up the track, bumps into Dennis, and Dennis is looking in really good shape right here, but the track is still dirty up there, and right here is where the problem starts. He just starts to spin, and Andy just barely collects him on the way by.
Another look from on board the 22 Toyota Bill Lester.
See the contact in front of Bill Lester. Bill backs off. He probably got nudged from behind by a truck, and that turned him around. I don't think he made any contact with anybody, so gets 4 more tires on there. He does have a little bit of damage to the left front, as you can see. So Bill will have to make repairs on that truck.
Now, the amazing part of this is, look at the points as of now. If the race were to end right now, which obviously it won't, but Setzer came into this race 131 points ahead of Carl Edwards.
And we've seen Bobby Hamilton have a huge point lead and just have an engine failure, and just like that, all of a sudden the points are
Speed Channel. Andy Houston into the wall and problems with the number 2 Dodge.
Hard contact. Look at the right side of that truck. He may have had some lingering damage from that contact he made with Dennis Setzer on lap 2. Another big break for Carl Edwards. Give him some more time to work on that truck. A lot of damage to him.
How much of these problems are because we were only on the track for half an hour?
Well, I think you could probably definitely say that some of these problems is a lack of practice, not a whole lot of rubber in the racetrack, and guys, just like you say, this track is fast, and not sure exactly, you know, as they went from practice, get ready to race, trying to loosen the things up, trying to get them, you know, where they think it's going to be good once you put rubber in the racetrack, and we're starting to see some problems from that.
Are we a little too aggressive early on?
Well, the 3 wide situation we certainly didn't need on lap 2, but I'm sure Andy, more than likely, something either broke or he ran over something to cut this tire down.
Let's look back. This is 2 laps before he hit the wall.
The 67 of Kevin Love on the outside. He must have had a tire rub. More than likely, he had a tire rub. Probably something to do with that contact with Jack Sprague earlier and Dennis Setzer.
Yeah, and you see them, you know, this is as they're going into the corner. They just slide up and hit the wall, so it's a possibility he had some damage on there. We saw the tire smoke. The tire probably started to go down and just couldn't get it steered before it got to the wall.
So caution number 2 comes out at Kansas Speedway. We've yet to complete 16 laps. We'll be back with more after this.
Pretty significant damage down here to the ASC Dodge, and Andy, I heard you say on the radio, wicked loose, and that was pretty obvious.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't like that when we started the race. The thing was just really, really awesome. I mean, Trip Bruce and all these guys on this team ASC Parkwest Dodge had done an awesome job with this truck. It was marching towards the front, and the 16 and the 46, the 46 wanted to stay 3 wide on the outside. I mean, he got up there in the loose stuff, and when he spun, he come down and caught me in the right rear quarter panel and spun us around. And I think at that point it either rolled the eccentric back on the rear housing or something, because when we went back green, I was just really, really loose and just chasing it to try to hang on to it. And just got in 3 there and racing a couple trucks, had a couple packed up behind me, and they just turned me right around.
And it get back in, how much of the damage?
It looks pretty bad. We're going to have to change all the right front suspension on the thing. Yeah, I think we can get it back in there, but it's going to take a little while.
All right. Bad luck for the last couple of weeks down here, and that continues for Andy Houston.
Yeah, there's Andy again hitting the wall. He may not have been aware that he had a tire rub, because sometimes, Johnny, when you have a little bit of a tire rub, this tire will go down so slow. You just get in a quick watch here. We're going to see that smoke again from the back of this truck. You get down in the corner, and you have such a slow leak, you just get down front and will turn.
Well, we see a lot of guys sitting there saying that we're going to make air pressure adjustments. If he does have a slow leak and it drops a pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds, just like that spring changing, you know, 50, 100, 200 pounds, and all of a sudden the thing's starting to get real loose on him. It is
26 of the 27 laps so far. Kelly Sutton having some problems backing the truck into the wall. You see the major damage on the Team Copaxson 02 of Kelly Sutton. That brings out our 3rd caution from Kansas Speedway.
And NASCAR will consider this their mandatory caution, because they said anything near lap 30, they were going to count that as the caution. So this will be the only caution that these drivers will see as far as a mandatory competition yellow. Tough break for Kelly Sutton, though. A lot of damage to the rear of that Team Copaxson Chevrolet.
Difficult times at Kansas Speedway with the inclement weather that took place yesterday. No truck was able to get onto the track this morning. A very brief stint on the track, and it was cloudy at the time when they were running on the track. We've got different weather conditions and just not a lot of track time for these trucks.
Yeah, I think a lack of practice, Johnny, would be a lot of what's going on here, because you know, some of these drivers haven't been here before. Kelly Sutton hasn't been here before, so this was her first time. And to ask her to try to get that truck just like she wants it in 30 minutes is really a lot better.
It sure is. You know, and the other thing we need to look at is the spoiler's a little bit smaller here. So that helps the balance of the trucks, but everybody's probably thinking from the other tracks that they've run, we still need to free them up. Maybe just a little bit too far.
There's a look at a rear spoiler right there. That's on the very back of the truck. This is the area we're talking about, that they rely on that rear spoiler for so much of the downforce on the back of these vehicles. As Johnny mentioned and Ray mentioned earlier in the show, that some of the high-speed racetracks like Atlanta, like Texas, they ran a 12-inch by 1-inch strip up on top of that, on each end of the spoiler. That created about 30 or 40 more counts of downforce, and that's pretty huge.
It is. You know, I talked to some of the drivers, and they said that it was just too much. I mean, it was hard to feel the front tires on these trucks. And with allowing them to have, or not have to have that on there, is put the balance a little bit better. But sometimes you over-adjust with not having enough practice.
This is the third caution that has come out. Involved in our very first caution, which took place just after lap number 1, was Dennis Setzer, Carl Edwards.
Just can't believe they didn't try tires.
Take a look at who's moved into
Whoa,
the top
Ted
five.
Musgrave's in the wall.
Problems with the Mopar Dodge of Ted Musgrave. Carl Edwards has moved into the top 5. I was looking at that as Ted Musgrave got into the wall.
Well, you don't want to be in the top 5 in this race in points because we've had 3 of the trucks in the top 5 already have damage, but it looks like Carl Edwards has really made some tremendous repairs on his truck, cowboying the guys.
Now, Ray was talking about during that last pit stop that Ted wanted to tighten his truck up or loosen it up. He put a rubber in the left side, the left spring.
What?
Ray, what's going on, Ray?
Well, no, they're trying to assess the damage here, but the last time they put a rubber in the left rear for Musgrave, and that's what took the pit stop so long. But he just said that he believes this racetrack, you know, the sun has been out here and really changed this racetrack. These conditions are nothing like what they practiced in early this morning. So now Gene Need is assessing the damage here, and as they get ready to pit, they'll see, you know, what all they have to do to Ted. Here he comes down pit road now. Looks like a good bit of damage on the right front. But the tire is still up, right, guys? He's not to me yet here, but...
No, it's flat, right?
It is flat and has torn up the right front fender a good bit here. So these guys will jack it up here and see what they've got to do as far as damage control, whether he'll have to go behind pit road or not. Steve Haraney is back as a tire changer for this team. He is on the fronts there as they will pull this tire off and see if there's any suspension damage. That's what Gene wants to know. And they can get the tire changed on it, go around and pit a couple of times under this caution to do their repairs on the bodywork.
The Mopar Dodge getting work done on it right now. The reason they are doing that work is because of this.
See Ted on the inside right there. It looks like he got a little bit loose down on the inside of Matt Crafton. They were side by side going in turn number 1. It looked like Ted lost the back end. We see that happen so many times. Now that look at it, that's exactly what happened, Johnny.
That's exactly what happened. And it looks like right now the track is just very unforgiving, and it's just, he just slide up, and that was a pretty hard hit to the wall. I'm sure they're going to have damage up there in the right front in the suspension.
So look out of Shane Neal's truck right here. You see the one truck get loose. Again, when you get loose, you have to chase the truck. You have to give it some room. And when he went up the hill to chase it, Matt Crafton was there, so they made a slight bit of contact, and then around Ted Brent up into the outside wall because he ran out of racetrack.
And Ted was doing everything he could not to hit Matt, and that's, I think, why he got a little bit more sideways than we'd like to have had.
We talked about who was hot and who was not. Everybody that was hot is having troubles at Kansas Speedway. Dennis Setzer, a lot of work done on the 46 for Dennis Setzer. He'll be back out onto the track when we come back. Crazy start.
Look at Travis Quapple. He is driving chassis number 06. They call this one Cheddar. Of course, Travis from Wisconsin, so he named his trucks after cheese. And there's a big crash on the track right now, guys.
Involving Travis Quapple and Jack Sprague. The 16 of Jack Sprague and Travis Quapple getting into the grass. That Line X Toyota trying to come back out onto the track now as the caution has come out for the 5th time today.
We saw those two trucks running side by side. Travis was trying to take over the second position, and they made some contact. You see a lot of damage to the front balance of that Toyota of Travis Quapple.
They must have got hooked up. I mean, we're going to see here. And as they got hooked up, they went down the track, in through the grass, and that makes a lot of damage to the nose.
See, Travis, he just bumped him. He was trying to pull to the inside, just made the slightest bit of contact, which got Jack a little bit sideways.
And once Jack got sideways, they just hooked together and just run him right down to the racetrack. They both went off the track into the grass, and that's where Travis got all this damage, just the nose, the grass hitting it and just peeling up the nose on it.
It's incredible that neither one of those drivers lost control going through the grass at about 170 miles an hour.
Yeah, they both did actually an excellent job in that, actually spinning, coming up into the track and causing more of a problem than what they just had.
Travis, I'm sorry, Rick, Travis had such a great run going. He's got a lot of damage to the front end of that truck. He's going to have to make some pretty severe repairs cosmetically to the front, because that is where you rely on so much of your downforce on the front of your truck.
Field picked up by the pace truck. Mike Dolan leading the field, and we see Shane Meal coming down. Our leader comes down pit road on the first opportunity that he can make a pit stop. Jack Sprague and Travis Quapple following him down pit road, and Jack Sprague goes across the wall. Wendy?
The 16's in. He was very upset. He feels Travis Quapple got into him. The air dam might be pushed in a little bit, so they're going to work on that. They're taking 4 tires and fuel. They're going down 2 rounds on the track bar on the right rear. Let's go to race.
Wendy, Shane Meal missed the pit box. He went across the line and had to back the truck up. That'll cost him about 1.5 seconds. They do make a chassis adjustment. Down 2 rounds on the left rear for Wedge. He said he was bitten very, very hot inside the truck. You see the Line X Toyota of Travis Quapple on the bottom of your screen. A good bit of damage to the right front. They will have to clear off that front of that grill there so they can get enough air to the inside. They will work on tires here, but because of everybody else getting off pit road, they've got time to continue to work on this 24. Get this thing right for them before the field comes back around.
Jack Sprague almost a minute on pit road right now, and he'll be wanting to obviously come out ahead of the pace truck so he doesn't go a lap down, but they want to get as much work done on that truck as they can while under caution.
Same situation with Travis Quapple. Let's take a look at Shane Meal coming in his pits. He overshot. That's him from his onboard. He's going to overshoot his pit slightly. Watch his crew guys have to jump over the front of that truck. See him back up, or you hear him back the truck up. There's a NASCAR official saying he's far enough back now. Go ahead with your pit work.
If they were to have done any work with him out of the box, that is a penalty.
It's a one-lap penalty. Yeah, it's not a tail end the longest line of whatever. It's a 1-lap penalty.
You see Jack Sprague and those guys trying to get all the work that they could get done on this. They know they're not going to come out of the pits first anyways. Get the work done. If it takes a minute, 2 minutes, anything they can do, it's, you know, provided they don't go lap down.
John Wood being shown as the leader at Kansas. That's a familiar sight, but that is his first lead of the year for John Wood. The Line X Toyota of Travis Quapple continues to work. This is why we're under green, or caution.
Travis was going to try to make the pass on Jack Sprague, made slightest bit of contact, but it turned Jack a little bit sideways, and when it did, it turned his nose to the inside of the racetrack, and that's where Travis was. They made contact down the middle of the backstretch. Both got into the grass.
Caution flag just flying. You see the NTN bearings, number 17 of David Rudeman, with severe damage to the right front of that truck. This is how it happened.
David was in a tight battle right there. There he is on the inside of John Wood. Again, same situation, Johnny. Got loose on the inside of John Wood. Overcorrected, made hard contact with the outside wall.
Oh, that was an unbelievable hit. You could see as the truck started to whip back to the right there, that the right front actually come up off the ground. And I'd like to say for David Rudeman, that's a pretty hard hit.
See him again go by on the inside. You see his truck already wiggling. He's trying to chase it, runs out of room, tries to stay off of John Wood. But when he corrects, he overcorrects. The right front goes right to the end of the outside wall. It's probably going to end his day. He hit so hard.
Wendy?
David Rudeman very upset on the radio. He said he got under the 50 and just got loose. Simply said, I blew it, is what he's, you see all the damage on the right-hand side of the truck? Jason Overstreet, the crew chief, said just bring it behind the wall. We're probably going to load this thing up, boys.
We've seen a lot of work earlier today on trucks that wanted to get back out, but there's a lot of damage, severe damage to the 17 of David Rudeman. Ray?
Hey guys, Bobby Hamilton's going to take fuel only here. They decided that there's no way they can make the distance here, and they want to get tires later on, so he is going to take fuel only. Square D Dodge is down and away. They get that done. We also the same thing for the 75 and the 10. Now the question is, can anybody put tires on here and go? It looks like the answer is no. Everybody just grabbing fuel here on pit road.
Lap 103, this caution came out. John Wood bringing the leaders back out onto the track first. Bobby Hamilton coming out second of the pits. Dennis Setzer continues to work on that points leading number 46 truck. The drama continues from Kansas Speedway in the O'Reilly Auto Parts 250.
Was up there, made it oh, we got a crash. There's Terry Cook.
And as soon as we talk about Terry Cook, he gets spun around in the number 10.
Doesn't look like a whole lot of damage except for what he's probably going to get going down through this grass area here. So maybe he's going to get fortunate here. You know, we have to wait and see exactly what happened in this, but it looks like a couple of trucks definitely got spun around.
I don't think Terry made any contact with the outside wall. I'm sure it was a situation. They came off turn 4. A lot of trucks running close together, and 2 trucks probably got together, and around Terry went.
You can see the little bit of damage right there on the left front down at the bottom of the car there, and or truck, and just he'll have to come in there and fix that. That'll definitely hurt the aero part of it, at least trying to keep the truck low on the racetrack.
It was already dragging on the racetrack. Let's see if we can take a look at what happened here to cause Terry Cook to take a ride through the infield. He might have just gotten loose on the bottom. It looks like he's on the bottom of Chase Montgomery, maybe trying to lap him. What a great job by Carl Edwards to avoid Terry Cook. What another close situation for Carl Edwards.
Yeah, it just looks like you're being on the bottom of the racetrack, especially on cold tires. Everybody is just so loose right there. And this could have very easily involved 3 or 4 other trucks, but he was able to spin, get down off the racetrack. Like I say, he's going to get a little bit of damage going through the grass. They'll get that fixed, hopefully be in pretty good shape.
Watch Carl right now. You see Terry sideways.
And Carl can't see anything right now.
Absolutely nothing. He's just so lucky that he went to the outside, chose right. His spotter probably helped him, said, hey, go high. He went high, avoided Terry Cook.
He probably had a pretty good view of which way he was going, and like I say, he couldn't see. Just real fortunate. Should have been in that. Come right out of there clean.
We'll ride along with Bill Lester in the Toyota and see the view that he had of the accident in front of him.
He had a little bit more time there. His spotter right now is guiding him through that accident, and you see the fact that he couldn't see anything. That's how it is, Johnny. You cannot see anything when you get smoke like that.
That's one thing that those cameras really work good at, is that, you know, when you see that smoke and that's all you see, that's exactly what you do see. Ray, you got more for us?
Hey, Johnny, I have Danny Rollins here, crew chief for Bob.
Earlier in the race, and now he's easily gotten by John Wood, and they're side by side, and problems again. It's Steve Park in the 62 and the 22 of Bill Lester.
I think the 29 was involved. Brad Kozlowski possibly. There's Steve Park.
Steve Park looked like he had spun, but no damage on the cars. Bill Lester's truck is heavy damage in a contact there in the wall.
Unfortunate for Bill Lester and Brad Kozlowski and Steve Park, but it's going to be a real big boost to the 15 of Shane Meal and the 50 of John Wood. Really going to help their fuel mileage.
It is. You know, it's going to be interesting if anybody's got tires, if they're going to make this opportunity now to come in and get tires, or they're just going to wait this thing out and play the fuel mileage situation.
115 laps are complete. 52 laps remain in this one, and we've already tied the record of most cautions at Kansas Speedway. We're on board with Rick Crawford. Side-by-side racing, Bill Lester jerking the wheel a little bit into the 62 of Steve Park. Crawford comes through clean. We're on board with Bill Lester.
We're going to see Bill Lester get loose on the inside of Steve Park. That's what's going to cause this accident. Watch Bill, watch him. He gets loose, tries to catch it, gets in the back, gets in the left rear corner of Steve Park and turns him around.
Caution 8 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series at Kansas Speedway. We'll be back with more Green Flag Racing. Welcome back to Kansas Speedway. An extremely eventful day so far. 8 cautions have flown. Let's take a look at the last one that we've just seen.
See the 22 of Bill Lester on the inside of the 62 of Steve Park. Right on the bottom of the racetrack. He's going to get a little bit loose there. He tries to catch it. Moves up just enough to get in the side of Steve Park. Then Bill Lester slides up the racetrack. Brad Keselowski comes along, nowhere to go, makes hard contact, gets in the outside wall. What a tough break for Brad Keselowski, Bill Lester, and Steve Park. Steve had such a good run going, but fortunately, I don't think he hit anything. John, he can come in, maybe put some tires on.
Yeah, Steve's still in pretty good shape right here. Now, you see Bill Lester just get down there. Not a whole lot of room there, and he just, like we've seen all day long, everybody just real loose on that bottom. He went up there and caught Steve in the left rear, spun him around, and that's about it.
The bad luck continues for Steve Park.
It really has. He had such a great run last week at Milwaukee with a 4th place finish. Best finish this year for the Orleans Dodge. And they had a good run going here. We've seen him up front. We saw him with some pitch strategy, stayed on tires a long time, was still able to stay in the top 10. And, hey, he's not out of this thing. He's still on the lead lap. Very little damage right there. And put 4 tires on this thing. Hopefully he's got 4 tires left. And he should because of that strategy at lap 30. And he should be good to go.
Steve Park, one of 7 different leaders in this race so far. He led 3 laps early on. Bobby Hamilton has led the most laps, 47 laps. Shane Meal, 27 laps so far. Jack Sprague led 25 laps early on. John Wood has led 14. Chad Chaffin and Ted Musgrave are your other lap leaders. And your points leader back in for more work on the 46 Chevrolet. Take a look back at how this day has gone. Lap 1, as they were racing to get to the first lap lead. Carl Edwards gets into the wall. Dennis Setzer now has problems as Jack Sprague gets into him. The second caution that came out was for Andy Houston brushing the wall.
Ted Musgrave had problems on the inside. The 6th truck of Matt Craftsman gets loose, runs out of racetrack, makes contact with the outside wall.
Here you see Travis Poppel and Jack Sprague got together just a little bit. They both forced down to the infield into the grass. A little bit of damage there.
David Ruderman, hard contact, got loose on the inside of John Wood.
Lap 111. Terry Cook getting sideways, going across the infield. Most recent caution coming out when Bill Lester gets into the side of Steve Park. Lester up into the wall and into Brad Keselowski. Steve Park stays off of damage. Problems in turn number 2. It looks as though the caution will come out again. Brandon Witt in the 38 gets into the wall in turn number 2.
There was another truck involved with that. I can't see exactly who it was.
He's going to be coming up on him here shortly. We'll be able to see.
Yeah, Robert Huffman, I think, is up. There's Robert Huffman, the 12 Toyota. That was the other truck involved in this accident.
And so caution number 9 comes out at the Kansas Speedway. We'll come back and see if anyone will make the chance of pitting before the end of this race. And we wouldn't expect the Super Chips Ford to come in to pit road right now, as the 9th caution has flown at Kansas Speedway on lap 147. Brandon Witt getting into the wall in turn number 2. We asked the question, where are the young guns as far as winners this year? Carl Edwards, the youngest winner in the Truck Series at 25 years old. Ted Musgrave becoming the oldest winner on the season with his win 1 week ago.
The 50 truck of John Wood on pit road gives up to 3rd position. He's got tires left. He's going to put them on. I thought we said John Monson said he didn't have tires left, but remember, Johnny, these trucks practiced so little this morning because of the only 30-minute practice session. They still have that set of tires that they could possibly put on these trucks.
They may have had a set that they didn't put a whole lot of laps on this morning. They probably felt that this is their best option to try to move forward. They were starting to fall back a little bit. We'll see what's going to happen.
Standing by with Carl Edwards' crew chief, Wendy Norris.
Cowboy Start, when I came up on the pit box, he said, I don't want to see you. The last time I came up here, you hit the wall right after that. You guys have really overcome your problems today. This team's really turned around.
Yeah, these Super Chips crew, they've done a really good job. I think we've been down on pit road about 30 times today. But truck was good to start with. Just had that little mishap, you know, in the beginning there, and we've had to recover from that. We ruined a set of right side tires, so we had to play our strategy just a little bit different than the rest of these guys. But now we got the clean air. But now I just seen the 50 roll by there. Our teammate, he was pretty good. He's got some fresh tires on, so I'm a little bit worried.
Were you worried about that last pit stop when you did come in and take tires that you would be the only truck?
Well, it went green long enough to where there was only 15 trucks on the lead lap, so we came in, we were running 4th, came out 10th, and didn't take Carl too long to get up there with the fresher tires. So we always want to try to get the freshest tires we can. On a track like this, it's a little easier to pass than some tracks.
All right, the 99 truck spent a lot of time on pit road today, but he's up front. Let's go upstairs.
Wendy and Cowboy were talking about the incident early on in the race. This is lap number 1. The 46 of Dennis Setzer clips the back end of the 99 and sends him up into the wall.
makes enough contact that, as Cowboy mentioned, he's probably been on pit road 30 times and made a lot of repairs to that truck. Obviously did a great job getting it back in competitive shape. We thought he would pretty much be out of it competitive-wise, but they made some great adjustments. There's the other truck that was involved in that incident with Carl, Dennis Setzer. Dennis is now being shown in 26th position, so he's passed a few trucks that had that problem on that incident a couple cautions ago. So he stays on the racetrack, stays after him. That's what he's got to do.
Out in front of the pack, Carl Edwards, Super Chips Ford, hoping that his teammate and the new fresh tires will be able to get back up to him. 67, Matt Crafton, right behind the 99 of Carl Edwards. And John Wood making the pass on the inside as a caution comes out. Mike Skinner spinning down the backstretch.
Field will be frozen. These caution laps are definitely helping Carl Edwards because, remember, his teammate, who actually passed a few trucks and the caution came out, he's got to back up there. There's the left rear tire flat on the 42 Toyota. But for Carl Edwards, the more caution laps he can run and keep his teammate from using those fresh tires, the better off he's going to be.
Right now, this is Carl's favorite part, is like, okay, we're going to run a couple laps, we'll run some more cautions, run a couple laps, more cautions. He needs a couple cautions, but yet he still wants to go race.
Now, the one thing in the Craftsman Truck Series, we don't end under caution, but as well, when you get inside of 10 laps to go in the race, we go back to single file restart. Now that helps John Wood because he doesn't have to worry about lap traffic on his inside. He just has to worry about the trucks that are in front of him on the lead lap.
That's right. You know, I mean, John Wood, he's got them fresh tires. He wants to see green flag racing, but if it's single file, that's even a better opportunity for him.
Getting reports that John made some contact with the 88 after the caution came out. Caution is out right now. You see the 88 on the inside, Tracy Hines. John right behind him.
I almost think as hard as John Wood's running here right now, I'm not sure if he thinks the caution's out, where all of a sudden it's like, okay, nope, caution's out. I'm going to lay on the brakes, get back behind these guys where I'm supposed to be, and that's pretty close.
We're under caution because of the 20 or the 42 of Mike Skinner as he slides by. And we saw that the left rear was down on that 42.
Left rear was definitely down as he was sliding by the camera, was the reason for his spin, and did a good job. You know, barely made contact with the wall there. Everybody else misses them. Works out good. Looks like the left front's flat now. I mean, after that long slide, he probably come in there and put that left rear on. Now he's got a little smoke coming off the left front. Just come apart there, pulling the bodywork up. Not a good day for Mike Skinner right now at the moment.
It's amazing how much damage when a tire goes down like that. You see the left front tire, how much body damage it does. You see, that was a full fender a second ago, Johnny, but not anymore.
That is, those tires are so violent when they come apart like that. It was just down on air and then just, like say, just come apart.
There's another look at it. As you mentioned, the left rear tire was flat. Around he went. He made some slight contact with the outside wall, not too much, but the flat tires do enough damage by themselves. But remember, we saw John Wood pass some trucks actually after the caution flag came out. We saw Jack Sprague get black flag at Memphis, leading the race for not slowing down when the caution came out. I'm sure John was not aware that the caution was out, but he did pass a couple trucks, and I'm sure he got back in his rightful position. And hopefully they're going to let the things stand as they are.
Well, and Wayne Otten mentioned in the drivers' meeting earlier today that when the caution comes out, just hold your position. And if you inadvertently get by someone when the caution is, give it back to them. Otherwise, we will take action.
It's so late in the race now. John's focus is strictly get by everybody you can. You got the fresh tires, go up there and try to get the win. And sometimes when that caution comes out, it's just he's just concentrating so hard. He doesn't see the lights. I mean, it's bright. Pretty hard to see him right now. And the time that he mentions it, though, he's on the brakes, got back where he needed to be.
Lights are off on the pace truck, meaning that there's one lap remaining. And we've got a problem with the Spears Manufacturing 75 as he comes onto the apron and he's slowed down to a stop.
Looks like we're going to get a push truck over there and hopefully get him off the track so we can get as much of this green flag racing as we can. And he should be able to make it. It's going to be tight, but he'll make it.
Ray, what's going on?
Well, they've got some sort of a piece of garbage in the carburetor. David told him about it about 5 laps ago, and he said it just it just won't go. And they were afraid that that was going to get sucked down inside and really cause a problem. But so far, it's just shutting off the fuel to the carburetor, and he can't get the thing to run.
Pretty tough break for those guys, too. They're sitting there running 15th late in the race. All of a sudden, they can't get the thing to run. It's a pretty tough break for those guys.
We knew he pitted
That Chaffin on the inside.
Another Bobby Hamilton racing truck. And whoa, trouble! He got sideways on the inside of Carl Edwards, and Chad Chaffin's able to keep it off the wall. The caution flag flies. A great bit of driving by Chad Chaffin, keeping all the fenders on that truck.
Chad did a tremendous job to go down there and get sideways. One, not go up and hit the wall with the track being the condition it is. And two, nobody collected him like what we saw last week at Dennis Setzer. Everything was good. Everybody missed him. Chad Chaffin's sitting in a pretty good spot right now.
Let's take a look, Johnny, what happened. It's so reminiscent of last week. You see him on the inside. When you get on the inside, you've got another truck. As Rick Crawford was pulling by on the outside, it just pulls the back of that truck right around.
It does, you know. I mean, as you can see Rick Crawford come right down on that door, and instantly Chad's truck starts to come around on him, and it's just a tough break, but a good opportunity. Guy's going to maybe come down pit road, work on him, but no damage.
Good move by our point leader, Dennis Setzer, to get by on the inside along with Matt Crafton. Close call. Looked like John Wood barely avoided Chad Chaffin on the inside.
Reminiscent of 1 week ago. Not too many green flag laps, and caution flies early on.
Boy, good heads-up move by Chad Chaffin. He was doing all he could do to get that thing straight, and John Wood was coming around the inside, and Chad was actually aimed for John Wood and cut the thing back to the right at the very last instant, avoided for Shane Meal. Got to be very, very top of your screen. You see him go all the way up towards the wall, makes some contact with the outside wall, but watch this truck when it comes down the backstretch. You see the right front of that truck, that's the wheel sticking out there. Either broke a wheel, Johnny, or had a wheel loose that maybe fell off and it broke the center out, looked like maybe.
Well, it may have been loose and it just broke the center off, and as you can see, it's trying to come out of the truck. Went up there and just bumped the wall a little bit with that tire hanging out. Probably did a lot of damage out of it. You can see the center is broke out of it. It's coming into pit road, and like I say, he's in the garage working on it because he's got more than just that center that broke when he did bump up into the wall.
There's a shot of the truck in the garage. Remember Sears Point, the Infineon Raceway, just a couple weeks ago. Robbie Gordon lost a wheel before they'd ever made a pit stop, so his wheel was left loose on his car, on his Nextel Cup car. So we'll have to see whether maybe that was the case with Shane's truck, or maybe he just broke the wheel.
There's a lot of things that can happen. You know, the wheel could probably just left loose. That's very uncommon to have that happen, or just some little problem with the crack in the thing. But as you can see the damage on the wall here, he did hit pretty hard. Could have broke it when he did that too, but it was, you know, something definitely got him going toward the wall.
We saw this a week ago. Dennis Setzer behind the wall working on his truck, was able to get back out and have somewhat of a successful finish.
Back some bonus points and him being up front.
Fourth caution of the night has flown. The 02 of Kelly Sutton, the Team Copaxson 02, has problems, and so our fourth caution flies, and this is an ideal time for all the teams because they'll come in and they'll all be able to make it to the end of the race.
We're on lap 97 laps completed. We're on lap 98. Everyone's going to be in their pit window. This should be the last pit stop for all these teams. Great timing for this caution flag for everybody except Kelly Sutton.
There were 16 trucks on the lead lap when this caution came out. One will get the position back, and so that will make it 17 on the lead lap. And that just means that Bobby Hamilton has been extremely dominant tonight, putting that many trucks a lap down.
One guy that really wanted to see that caution right there is Dennis Setzer. He was getting pretty close to that point where he might be a lap down. This saves him. He's going to be in good shape, make his adjustments.
All the lead lap trucks will be allowed to come down pit road next time by, we believe. They have been caught up to the pace truck. Mike Dolan leading the field. Bobby Hamilton out in front of the field again. Steve Park, Matt Kraft. Welcome back to the Built Ford Tough 225 on speed. Very disappointing ending for Terry Cook's day in the Power Stroke Diesel number 10. We're under caution number 5 for the result of that accident right there.
It's such a great run going. Let's see if we can take a look and see what might have happened. You see he's already in the wall right there. Hard contact
with the outside wall.
We have an onboard camera. We're on board with Terry Cook earlier, and you see him. That's coming out of turn number 4, where he hits that wall very hard.
He sure did.
If we got the inboard, we got to just listen. You could almost hear the engine rev up just as the back broke loose. Now, whether there was something on the track or something come from his truck, you could just hear the back end break loose, and he chased it all the way to the wall. And then also in that other view, we saw another truck get loose behind him. But it looks like Terry Cook's okay. Probably real disappointed. 12 laps to go in the race, running very well. They really needed that good run.
He had a sure top 5 going for Terry Cook. There's a team engineer right there. On what dejection he has there. Watch him. Oh boy, you got to feel his pain.
You definitely. I mean, as a driver, as a team, just everybody involved. I mean, a great run they were having. Like I say, just glad to see Terry Cook's okay. Pretty hard lick.
Getting the truck put on the tow truck now, and so they will pull the number 10 behind the wall, and when we restart, we'll be inside of 10 laps remaining in the Built Ford Tough 225 from Kentucky Speedway.
Awful lot of damage to that Power Stroke diesel Ford right there. Such a great run going. That's what's too bad. But at least they can leave here knowing that, hey, we've had a good run going. We were in the top 5. We were gonna finish in the top 5. Going to bring the trucks down pit road. I think there's probably so much debris on the racetrack, Johnny, that they want to bring them on pit road. They don't want to take any chances of anyone going through all that debris and cutting a tire down.
No, you know the safety crew workers are out there. They're picking up everything that they can. And it looked like as they pulled Terry Cook's truck away, there was no fluids there. So it's very possible that maybe the right rear started to go down, or maybe there was something else on the track. But very important that the crews the safety crew workers get out there, pick up all those pieces. We know that these trucks are going to be on these tires the rest of the race. Let's make sure you don't get a puncture just driving over a piece of debris.
Now, pit road is not actually open, but they're diverting the trucks down pit road so that they avoid any type of debris that possibly is on the front tri-oval.
Yeah, they do not want anyone to make a pit stop right now while all these trucks are coming down pit road. The trucks really are able to make a pit stop, but they would be penalized. They would have to go to the tail end of the longest line for pitting before pit road is essentially open.
Rick Crawford comes spinning out of turn number 4. He'll spin through the infield and come to rest in the Built Ford Tough 225 logo that's painted in the infield. No caution.
A top 10 position to make his way onto pit road. There he's right on the bottom of the racetrack. He was in the bottom of 3 trucks.
John Wood was just closest to him.
Just got a little bit loose, it looked like, on the bottom of the racetrack. Watch that truck take a wild ride through the infield.
Saw just a small piece of debris fly up there in turn 4. That might be what the caution was, more so than Rick Crawford being down here in the grass.
Take another look at it. Rick's going to look to the inside of John Wood. Looks like he might have just pinched the truck a little bit, lost the back end, slid through the infield grass.
Also a second incident taking place when Rick Crawford got spun around. The 02 of Kelly Sutton gets spun around as well coming out of 4.
Bill Lester able to get by on the inside in the 22 Toyota.
Looks like you can see that piece of debris right there. They need to get that picked up just so nobody comes around, runs it over, has another problem on the track.
We're going to have a green-white checker more than likely. We're completing lap 149 right now.
With more on Rick Crawford's troubles, Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, I just wanted to let you know why Crawford was back there. He was running 9th on the racetrack before Terry Cook had his wreck, but when he did, Rick Crawford ran over a big piece of debris that came out of Terry Cook's truck, so he flattened his right rear tire, excuse me. That's why he came to pit road. That's why he had to give up 9th position. When he restarted, he was 15th, and that's why he was back in that position.
There are 16 trucks on the lead lap. Rick Crawford being shown in 16th.
You see his team picking lug nuts off the ground an awful little string that they have on there, because these are more than likely tires that have already been on the truck. They didn't have any lug nuts glued onto them. They did not expect to have to use these tires, but they didn't want to take a chance on the flat spotted tires from the spin just now, so they're putting
3 wide.
John Wood on the inside. And right in the middle, Mike Skinner pushing the Tundra 42. And problems. Rick Sanders in the 72 gets spun around.
Talking about pushing, he got pushed around by the 50 of John Wood, look like.
Our first caution comes out at Gateway International Raceway.
You could just feel it coming, Phil, couldn't you? That turn 3 is so difficult. You know, if a guy is slow getting in there, it's hard for him to keep it down, and everybody starts jamming up.
On this racetrack, can you almost feel like you're too slow in the center of the corner, because you have to slow down so much entering a corner. You feel like in the center of the corner you should be doing something else. But hey, you've got to get these things slowed down so you can get them turned.
Exactly. Here we are on the inside. We get this lap truck, the 72. Now the 50 of John Wood, he wants to go. The 72 is just extremely slow, and you know he can't help but to run over him.
And he's trying to stay out of the way, and John Wood's wanting to get in the throttle and go, and the 72 just never got on the throttle. Watch another view of it here.
Yeah.
He's just a little bit slow getting back to the throttle, and John Wood was trying to race Mike Skinner, who was on the outside of him.
Yeah, and I got to put up for John Wood in the 50 there. It's not where he just wanted to dump him. He's racing these guys on his outside, and he's just wanting to keep his speed up. You know, he tries clearing around now. But this is a good sight. I mean, there's hardly any damage on the 72 truck. I don't think there's any.
It's very narrow on the front stretch, too, for him to spin around and not hit the inside wall. That's a great. Here's brand new invention right here. We always talk about the pit road flagman. Well, NASCAR now has a new light. You see it there flashing right here on your screen. When pit road is open, the flagman's going to be waving the green flag, and that light's going to be flashing green.
And the greatest thing about this invention is, yeah, on your screen, you know, we're light here in Gateway in St. Louis, Missouri, but when it gets dark on that back stretch.
Mike Skinner on the outside in the 42 Toyota. He's not going to let Carl Edwards go.
Now watch Randy try to come back and get him. Whoa!
Problems. We've got Carl Edwards and Mike Skinner getting spun around.
That was a situation, Kenny, maybe he should have let him go. Carl Edwards on the inside, the truck on the inside, always loses air off that rear spoiler, always gets a little bit looser on the inside. I think that's exactly what happened.
You know, me and my friend Kenny Schrader, I would say, Kenny, I knew you was going to wreck, and he'd say, well, how come you didn't tell me? I wish I'd have had a radio right then. You just knew it was going to happen. I hated that it happened, but we called it just because of the way they were beating and banging on each other.
Got a flat left front tire on Mike Skinner. That's probably where they made contact with Carl Edwards. Kenny, let's take a look here and see what happened. Remember, going down in turn number 1 here. There they are, side by side. Watch Carl Edwards. See if he doesn't get loose on the bottom of the racetrack.
Straight into him.
Yep, got a little bit loose, had to chase the truck up the hill, ran into Mike Skinner. What does Kenny Schrader say, 8 tires are better than 4?
Yeah, Bobby Allison always taught me that. He said, hey, if you're on the inside, I got 8 tires. But the problem there nowadays is that you can't beat on guys like you used to. These radial tires and the cars are so stable, when they let loose, everybody goes around.
Guys, how rough is this track? I mean, we saw sparks flying from underneath Carl Edwards' truck right before he moved up.
Carl Edwards slowing up everybody about running over him.
Going in turn number 3, that's Carl on the bottom of the racetrack.
Could he be out of fuel right now? No, he's got.
He's going to spin.
99. The super chipped Ford 99 of Carl Edwards gets spun around.
Wow.
No caution has come out as of yet. Carl Edwards back on the racetrack, and it looked as though he was trying to get on pit road, but missed the entrance. And so now he comes to a stop just inside of turn 4, and the caution flag will fly now.
Hey, this is what we were talking about. Andy Houston is saying, why me? John Wood is saying, why me? This caution flag just ruined it for them. Now they're going to have to get their lap back. It looked like the 99 has got a right rear flat. He does. The 99 has a right rear flat.
Yeah, he shouldn't have had to come for fuel. There he is. You see the right rear tire right there, flat. But he missed the entrance to pit road. He slowed down the backstretch, but he missed the entrance to pit road.
He knew he had to get in. Let's watch his left front tire. Let's watch this. It's going to smoke up, right? Here we go, right there. He wants to get in, but he sees the grass, and he knows that he can't ride around another lap on that right rear flat.
Kenny, this spin is going to be a real break for him, though. He will probably lose 1 lap, but had he made a green flag pit stop, he probably would have come out 2 laps down.
Wow, what an aggressive driving. Look at this. He thinks he's at Eldora on the dirt, high, wide, and handsome. No, this is what's great. He gets it straightened out, and he's going, well, I got a pit. Now watch this. Well, he went sideways through the grass again. Very aggressive driving.
Carl Edwards seeing his problems continue. Kentucky, they broke the flywheel, and now problems with the
5 DNFs this year, so he has had some great equipment on the track, but it's not showing in his finishes. Of course, no major sponsorship on this truck. They would love a win for the 15.
Oh no, the 16 truck. This is Jack Sprague.
Problems flying out of the back of the 16 and into the wall. Jack Sprague goes. He broke.
And the caution comes out. That's going to put Bobby Hamilton right on Shane Meal's rear bumper for probably a green-white checker.
Wow, check this out right here. Right front flat. The tires deteriorated, went into the wall, couldn't control it, come down and slam the left front.
Yeah,
wow.
look at the way the left front's pointing right there, Kenny. So he has got some serious damage to that truck. What a great run going. What a tough break for Jack Sprague.
You know, this is a really tough break for Jack Sprague, but we owe it to all you fans to remind you, green, white, checkered, this is what it's all about, this truck series. It's going to be incredible. You got the fastest truck on the racetrack of Bobby Hamilton, who is now going to line up behind Shane Meal.
Jack Sprague obviously disappointed. Had a great run. We talked to him a couple times during the race. He was thinking, I've got to run consistent. I've got to run good because all I want to do is run for a championship. We had the opportunity to ride along with Jack Sprague when this problem took place.
Listening.
Right front flat. He does not hit the wall. He gathers his truck up. Let's listen. Right aboard. Now the tire's gone. Now the right front tire is deteriorating. He has no control. Let's listen. He hits the wall because he cannot steer it. He can't drive it.
Yeah, it's one thing for a tire to go flat, but when it comes apart like that after running flat for so long, that's the result.
Yeah, and let's not be quick to judge the Goodyear tire. He might have run over something. His tire adjustments might have not been right. But regardless, he blows a right front tire. And only right here on Speed do we bring it to you live like that. We have a total description of what happened because of our onboard camera. That was incredible.
Jack Sprague climbing out of the 16, obviously very disappointed. Was looking for a great finish at Gateway to help him move up through the standings. He was in 7th coming into this race.
And let me tell you something about Jack Sprague. He is a very intense competitor, and that's why he stayed humble in all the interviews. He wanted to get to the checkered flag.
Wendy?
Well, just to update you once again on Shane Meal.
It's incredible.
Side by side as they come out of turn number 2. Bobby Hamilton on the outside, Shane Meal on the inside. It's a drag race down the backstretch.
Kenny, he told us he couldn't do it on the outside.
But we knew it's not over. Shane could drive. Oh, caution flag.
Caution flag flies as we have problems in turn number 2. 1 and 2, it looks like Terry Cook having problems in the 10 as well as the 12 of Robert Huffman.
We did not get white flags, so we will have, maybe for the last time ever, a second green-white checker when this race restarts.
Now, here's the scenario I seen. Bobby Hamilton showed Shane Meal his ace up his sleeve. He said, okay, I'm going to the outside. Now, is Shane going to move high? And if he moves high, is that Square D truck strong enough to go low? We know it's going to be a race now.
I think he needs to go to the middle of the racetrack and block both lanes, Kenny.
Well, no, you know what? That sounds funny, but that's true. That's probably what Shane needs to do, go right in the middle of the racetrack. And look at this is Richie Waters. We got to give credit to Richie Waters. He is a crew chief that has worked his whole life in racing. He's a great, great crew chief. We're going to show you a replay of this wreck. This was a 2-3 truck pileup.
That's Terry Cook, and it looks like Chase Montgomery in the 8 gets into the back of Terry Cook. He goes spinning up. Terry Cook into the wall. Chase Montgomery is able to save it, stay out of the wall, but you see the 12 of Robert Huffman getting caught up in that, and Robert had a great run tonight.
He sure did. With career best finish last week in the top 10, and unfortunately Terry Cook spun around right in front of him. Robert had absolutely nowhere to go, but Terry Cook was trying to race. He was on the lead lap racing for position. Chase Montgomery was on the inside, also racing for position. Terry came down a little bit. They made some contact, and around Terry went.
Yeah, and I want to draw attention to that 22 of Bill Lester, currently in 16th spot. You know, he has had a lot of bad luck, and I know everybody at Bill Davis Racing is happy to see Bill Lester, I mean, by inches, make it through that wreck.
Seems like every accident there's been, but it was close to Bill Lester. He's been unfortunately caught up in it, but as you mentioned, he did a great job avoiding some major damage in that accident.
Yeah, Bill Lester has always qualified in the top 10, keeping a steady wheel tonight, and currently right now in 16th spot. Well, you never want to see this. Robert Huffman and Terry Cook both being hooked up, and I said it was going to be a thriller in Manila, right, guys? I mean, Muhammad Ali, we're coming down to the end.
If this is Manila, we've definitely got a thriller.
It's awesome, but, oh, man, I mean, how could we cover it all, guys? We're talking about the race for the lead, in front of us. Then to the right of us, we got a 3-truck pileup, and, it's all a do-over now.
Well, Craftsman's always on the cutting edge of technology when it comes to tools. And tonight we'd like to spotlight another important piece of equipment that Craftsman makes available to all of us in the Craftsman Tool Tech.
When the guys and gals in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series come to work, they know there's a chance their hands are really going to get torn up. That's why they wear these Craftsman Mechanics gloves. What I like about these is the palm is really padded, which gives you good grip on your tools. I also like the fact that there's a nice elastic that keeps dirt from getting in on your hands. But the double wrap finger is really nice because you're always banging into things on these trucks, which tears up your knuckles. These prevent that. They're great in the Craftsman Truck Series garage, but you can also wear them at home, whether it's around the shop or just working in the yard.
And when I was a kid, Craftsman tools, I mean, that lifetime guarantee, I mean, no matter what happens, you take them back. That was awesome. They were my very first toolbox when I went ASA racing.
I'm sure a guy who knows a lot about how well those gloves work because he goes over the wall for the number 4 team is Danny Rollins, and he's standing by right now with Ray.
Well, he sure is, Rick, and you know what? This is kind of
that time. Bobby Hamilton tucks right in behind him as they work their way into turn number 1.
Ooh, Shane got a really good start right now, but here he goes again.
Bobby drives to the outside. He pulls up beside him again, Kenny.
My gosh, this is incredible. They're beating.
They hit the wall. Bobby Hamilton up almost on 2 wheels and into the wall. The caution's going to fly again. Chad Chaffin will move into the top spot.
But we haven't got the white flag yet. We will have another green-white checker.
I knew it was going to happen. I drew the picture. I said, your leader is a young kid. You got the veteran on the outside. They are still wrecking as we look at
Bobby Hamilton right now is wide open, wide open, turning into Shane Meal.
Okay. Bobby Hamilton can't see anything right now. He's got smoke flying out of that truck, and like you said,
he's got smoke coming out of his ears too.
Okay, the Ford truck, what Phil was saying is we've seen this. The Ford truck got wrecked. He got run up in the wall. He said, I'm going to wreck you now. So he stood in the gas wide open. You heard the motor. He run the 15 down in the wall. Both these guys are upset, but we knew it was coming. We talked about this green-white checkered. Mike Helton is loving me right now because this is what happens every time you do green-white checkered. Is this what the fans want? If this is what they want, we can't give them to them because now 2 times in a row, this is what will happen. This is a perfect example for the NASCAR Premier Division. So, I mean, you can vote all you want, but this is what happens.
And so, now we have had 2 green-white checkered or green-white checkered attempts, and of those 2, we've lost the top 3 that were going to start this race. So problems with the 4 and the 15, and Danny Rollins beside himself. Let's take a look back at why the 8th caution flew at Gateway.
Oh, we see what happens. Shane Meal gets sideways and loses it.
Yeah, it was not a situation where he just tried to drive Bobby Hamilton in the wall. He was doing all he could do to try to keep the lead, and he got sideways and it ran out of racetrack. He and Bobby Hamilton made contact. Bobby almost got upside down. There's where you see Bobby's trying to make sure that Shane gets his truck off the racetrack and out of the way.
He doesn't want Shane to gain any positions. But you know what? As upset as Bobby is, you can hear the motor wound up. We looked at that replay. We got to give that 15 truck, a round of applause for trying to win the race. He was wide open and dead sideways.
Wendy?
The 15 truck went over the line. They just pushed him back. They're going to take right sides only. Of course, we have another green-white truck going on. I think Bobby Hamilton also came down pit road. Let's check in with Ray Dunlap.
Yes, Wendy, that is true, and they will be able to continue here. It looks as if they get this sheet metal pulled away from the left side here, and they go to work on the right side to see what the damage is over there. Now remember, this is an important points night for Bobby Hamilton. As dominant as this truck has been, I'm sure these guys are absolutely heartbroken. Danny Rollins, the crew chief, up there working on the front, and they will go to work here to make sure the suspension isn't bent too badly and try to get this thing so they're back in there to find out what kind of a finish they can salvage here. They've got those tires on, and Bobby will go back to the racetrack.
And just in time, because next time by, or as they're coming by, they're going to get the green flag, the field wheel, and they're just making their way through 3 and 4 right now.
Yeah, we're trying to give you all this drama right now, and we're up in turn 4. We're getting ready to go green.
We've got a race to decide. Chad Chaffin inherited the lead when the 2 leaders crashed. David Starr trying to get his 2nd career win right behind him.
Chad Chaffin also with 1 career win in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And look who's right behind him in 3rd. Dennis Setzer in that Chevy 46.
And it isn't over. We got a clean start. Let's see if the Bobby Hamilton racing truck of Chad Chaffin can win the race for the boss.
Into turns 1 and 2, Chad Chaffin with a pretty comfortable lead over David Starr, and now Starr reels him back in as they go down the backstretch.
Chad gets off the corner pretty well. Look at David Starr.
Whoa!
Oh, got another crash.
Here we go again.
Up on the side, that's the 14 of Rick Crawford sliding sideways down the backstretch.
Oh, Lord.
Unbelievable.
Andy Houston and Rick Crawford getting into it coming out of turn number 2, and now the safety crews will immediately get out and try to take care of the 14 of Rick Crawford.
Now what we're facing here is a decision. I mean, this is incredible. We cannot get the race finished.
What's nice about that truck right there is Rick Crawford is a very big guy, but these trucks have you see him moving around there. You see him standing up in the truck to climb out the passenger side. These trucks have a 59-inch roof height versus a car that has a 51-inch roof height. There's a lot more room in these trucks than there are in cars. So Rick was able to get out. He's popped right out of that truck. It's great to see him okay.
Yeah, and he was literally standing up inside the truck, very dejected. We have got this race red flagged, all the trucks stopped in turns 1 and 2.
This is we will try for the 4th time for a green-white checker. We've already crashed 6 trucks, Kenny, on 3 previous attempts.
Wow, here we go. Let's look at this replay. Turns 1 and 2. It gets really tight off this corner. Wow, the 2, same thing as what we had just a minute ago.
Almost a carbon copy, exactly. Andy looked like he might have got sideways. He forced the 14 of Rick Crawford up into the wall. Rick climbed over the right rear corner of Andy's truck, and there you see Rick sliding door side down.
Wow, I mean, this is incredible. But, you know, in our sport of NASCAR racing, this has been the hottest debate. Green-white checkered. Okay, here we go. 2 car on the inside, 2 truck on the inside of the 14.
They're both getting into the gas.
Loose again.
No room.
Yep, saw him wiggle a little bit. He had to drive up the hill to chase it. When he did, Rick Crawford was there. They ran out of room, and this is the result.
Well, first of all, you want to say Andy Houston run up into him, but he gets loose, and he's chasing the truck. Okay, here's our truck, the 2.
That's right on the inside, right in front of the 17 of David Ruderman.
He's loose.
See him loose right there. He's got to chase it. He's got to chase it. He's trying hard to get off the corner. They run out of racetrack. He forces the 14 of Rick Crawford into the wall.
But let me say this. He's loose, right? But if it was lap 50 of a 160-lap race,
he would have backed off. He would have backed off, Kenny.
He would have backed off. Why? Because he didn't back off because we're coming to the white flag.
He knows that's a position. If he gets by the 14 of Rick Crawford, he gets that position. That's what hard racing is at the end of a race.
Rick Crawford walking away dejected from the number 14.
Wow, incredible. Well, I mean, this is human drama and athletic competition, gang. I mean, you're coming down, you know, hoping to get a good top 10 finish, and now right now he's trying to gather his thoughts. You know, Phil, me and you race car drivers, and we've won races, and, you know, I was going to win a race in Homestead, Florida, the very first year, and I got wrecked leading on the last lap. And when it happens, you're in your own world. You know, you're just trying to gather your thoughts and go, my gosh, what just happened?
That's Adam Crawford, Rick Crawford's son. Works on the Circle Bar team. Obviously happy, of course, that his father's okay, but very dejected that the team had to finish this way. Look at the carnage that's taken place since we've gone to our first green-white checkered, when Bobby Hamilton and Shane Meal got into the sides of each other, and Bobby Hamilton almost on the driver's side door, but was able to keep it on all 4 And the two of them went down into the infield, but that caused our first caution after green-white checkered. We're under a red flag situation, and the reason for that is this. Andy Houston getting into the side of Rick Crawford. Crawford slides down the backstretch on the driver's side door for the Missouri-Illinois Dodge Dealers Ram Tough 200. We'll be back for the finish. Welcome back to Gateway International Raceway. We're under red flag conditions because of Rick Crawford's truck getting up on its side coming out of turn number 2. We look at the points as of now, if it were over right now, but as you've seen, it is not over, not even close. And let's go down to trackside with Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. Sitting here with Dave.
Hey YouTube, thanks for watching. If you're interested in more content like this, check out our back catalog of videos. We have hours and hours and hours of compilation videos, podcasts where you'll get news, you'll get my opinion on certain things, which who doesn't want to hear that. Check it out. If you would, like, subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our future uploads. We will be making more videos like this one. So, if you're interested, turn on notifications, like, subscribe, the works. And I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for watching. God bless. Love you. Peace.